Emotional town hall meetings in response to healthcare reform have become the order of the day for many elected legislators, some of which are less than happy to participate and are, in fact, refusing to. And someone has had a belly full of that evasion, and his name is Coach Dave Daubenmire. He's with Pass the Salt Ministries, and we're going to speak with him right now about his response to his own congressman's refusal to hold a town hall meeting. Good afternoon, Coach.
Well, God bless you, Jim. God bless the Quad Cities, and thanks for giving me the opportunity to explain what's going on out here in the Zanesville, Ohio area. 18th Congressional District, Zack Space, 4 years ago now, won a seat that Bob May, who was exposed in the Jack Abramoff issue, went to jail. The most conservative
now, just to back up, Coach, that was a lobbying scandal.
Yeah, that's right. Right. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Bob May was Mr. Conservative. This is Mr. Conservative America we're talking about here. I want you to understand that. And we have a blue dog, what they call a blue dog Democrat by the name of Zack Space, who won the seat when Bob May was removed from office. Well, Zack behaved pretty well for the first couple of years. In fact, won re-election again. He won with 57% of the vote in a county, in a district, if you can believe this, that John McCain carried with about 63%. So Zack was a pretty good boy, seemed to be a pretty good boy, until lo and behold, something's happened in the last 6-7 months over there in Washington, D.C. So I've spent the last three weeks chasing him around. I called his office, gone to his office, followed him around over 3 counties one evening, trying to get an audience with my congressman. Now, I don't want to talk to him privately. Now,
it's my understanding, Coach, if I could interrupt you, he did, to his credit, he did agree to a face-to-face meeting, but he will not submit to the town hall forum, which, of course, is really the only way that large numbers of people can express as a group their collective viewpoint.
That's true, but let me clarify that even a bit as well. He agreed to have a face-to-face meeting with me after I found where he was attending a private meeting at a private residence here in the district. I went to it. They would not let me in. There was a police officer there at the driveway. I didn't try to crash the party. I'm a God-fearing man. I went mannerly, asked if he would speak to me. It made me stand outside for 3 hours, and finally at the end of the 3 hours, with the media there, they were following us around Fox News. It became a national story. He invited me in to speak to him one-on-one without any media, without any cameras. I said, wait a minute, I was born at night, but not last night. I believe government needs to be open. I'm not going to come in there and have you and I have a meeting, shake hands, walk out of there, and you say one thing and I say another. We've got the press right here. Let's get it on the record exactly what your response is. I do not want a meeting with Zack Space. I want to make that very clear. It is not about me. I want him to face his constituents. We need to find out where he stands. I want him to look us in the eye and tell us why he is shackling my yet-to-be-born grandchildren with debt that they will never be able to dig themselves out of. Because somewhere in that dusty old Constitution I read, there's such a thing as taxation without representation. And that Zack Space is shackling my grandchildren with debt when they've never had a chance to say anything about it. And the First Amendment to the Constitution says that we all have a right to a redress of grievances. Well, my only avenue of redress of grievances is Zack Space. And I would tell you this, I speak for thousands and thousands and thousands of people in this 18th Congressional District who agree with me, who would like to look this man face to face, get him on public record where he stands, and he refuses to give us an audience.
Now, you have taken a rather bold step in an effort to, first of all, draw attention to this situation, but to get the attention of Congressman Space. Tell us what you're doing. Well,
first of all, I've had a lot of people come and email me, say, oh, Coach, you're so brave, you're so brave. You know what I tell them? I'm not brave. I'm doing my duty. Doing your duty is not bravery. How did we get to the point in America where doing your duty was bravery? Going above and beyond the call of duty, that's what bravery is. So I just feel that I have an obligation to my Lord, first of all, to my country, and to my children to hold this man accountable. He is an elected representative. He represents me. And if I allow him to continue to run and hide, then we might as well do away with representative government. So I have committed to spending the rest of my 7, 8, 9 days, whatever it would be, before he returns back to Congress. I am camping out outside of his congressional office here in Zanesville, Ohio, 24/7. Now, I'm a high school football coach. I leave here for football practice for 3 hours and then come back. Tonight we have our first football game. I'm going to leave for 5 hours and then come back. But other than that, you will find me camped out in front of his office demanding a public town hall meeting where he will stand and face his constituents and like the man that he claims to be, no more running and hiding. In fact, there's another side note. He has spent the last 4 days in Afghanistan. So evidently, Congressman Zack Space feels it's safer to be in Afghanistan than it is to be with his constituents in Zanesville, Ohio. And I believe that this man has a moral obligation to face the music before he shackles my grandchildren with debt. He needs to explain to us why he feels that's necessary. And I don't think that's too much to ask.
Well, let me ask you a question. Here in Illinois, Dick Durbin has made it clear he has absolutely no interest in or intention to participate in a town hall meeting. What would you say to conservative Christians in Illinois right now they should be doing?
Well, as I try to tell everybody, they will never see the light until we turn up the heat. Folks, you better hear this. This is the fourth quarter. We are in a war. And if we allow our elected officials to ignore the wishes of the people they claim to represent, if we do not stand up and fight this fight right now, I believe we will lose representative government. They will no longer care what we say. So it is imperative at this time and at this place that people not only phone and email, but go and stand outside your Durbin's offices and tell them that you demand some accountability. Now, is he going to give it? I don't know if he will. They frankly don't seem to care. But I think it's time that I had a guy tell me today. He said, Coach, an older man. He had tears in his eyes. He came up and he said, Coach, I have been so frustrated, and I saw what you were doing, and it reminded me of a movie where a guy grabbed a flag and ran up the hill. He said, now that you've grabbed that flag and you've run up the hill, I'm telling you, there are going to be many who are coming behind you. So I would say to those out there in the Quad Cities, somebody grab the stinking flag and run up the hill and demand accountability from our elected officials, and you will be shocked and amazed at how many people will come.
One final follow-up to that. Our U.S. Congressman in this district is named Phil Hare. He did field questions from a room full of his constituents at what was supposed to be just a press conference. He did, to his credit, agree to take questions, even though that was not part of the schedule, and that's certainly admirable. But since then, he has announced that he will only hold telephone town hall meetings. What do you think about that?
That's a heck of a meeting, isn't it? Did you ever talk to somebody on the telephone and the whole time that you're talking to him, you're making your eyes, you're rolling eyes and all that kind of stuff? I want to be able to look at a guy and see his body language and see how he reacts when I ask him a question. Teleconferences is nothing more than another way to be able to hide. I could explain to you a car wreck, but there's a big difference between me explaining one and you seeing one. And what Dick Durbin knows and what Zack Space knows and what all Nancy Pelosi and all those people in Washington, D.C. know is that they better not show a picture of that train wreck, of that car wreck. And that's exactly what happens in these town hall meetings. America begins to see that the emotion that they're feeling, the anger and the frustration they're feeling, it's not just them. There are many others just like them, and they have to, no matter what it costs them, they have to make sure that that picture is not put on the television. That's why Zack Space won't meet. That's why Dick Durbin won't meet. And I would just say with all of my heart that people need to continue to demand that they do. They may not do it, but, brother, we got to go down swinging, that's for sure.
All right, Coach Dave Daubenmire, Pass the Salt Ministries. You have a website I can send folks to?
Yeah, CoachDaveLive.com. God bless you, my friend, and thanks for having me on.
Oh, baby, you dig it the most. Dig it the most.